Last time on Desperate Attune, more trouble was brewing in Uduasha. The Asha River, the main link to Uduasha from its breadbasket Kethris, was drying up, and so too were the food shipments that it brought to the city. As the water levels dropped, stranding more and more barges on silt banks, food prices soared. While the farming families of Gilly Gilly Gully, who now had near total control of the food supply, were swimming in coin, the refugees of the hospitality ghetto were in dire straits. Amidst this maelstrom, Omid brought Mushfiq some more troubling news. The fire speakers had resurfaced. Their ultranationalist rhetoric had found support in Gilly Gilly Gully, and one of the most prominent families, the Bitter Gourd Bakshis, had granted them safe harbor, and they had towed Ustad Shahed along. Neither Mushfiq nor Omid could say why the fire speakers had been keeping Ustad Shahed, their bitter enemy, alive. But even more troubling was the alliance between farmers and those who would see the refugees starve. Mushfiq brought the news to the crew as fast as he could, and once he did, Bidrohi suggested a show of force. By making an example of the Bakshis, they'd warned the other families against an alliance with the fire speakers. Saida was wary about the attention that they would bring, but the rest argued that they had eyes on them anyway. Inaction would only mean getting swept away by the currents. Saida folded, but she insisted that they had to go in prepared, and that they would need allies. The Scotlanders had just as much to lose in the rising tides of fire speaker nationalism, and so Saida and Clem went to speak with the Bob and Jackal. Over lunch and beer, Saida convinced them that despite their past squabbles, they were all in the same boat. She offered them all the food that they could carry off after a successful hit, and in turn the Bob mustered together a sizable force to back up the crew. Meanwhile, Bidrohi's jail buddies investigated the Hive's activities in Gilly Gilly Gully on his behalf. They brought back news that the influence of a foreign criminal organization like the Hive had provided fertile ground for the fire speakers. And now there was an intense rivalry between the Dilkusha Bakshis, who were aligned with the Hive, and the Bitter Gourd Bakshis, who were aligned with the fire speakers. Later on, Clem attuned to the waters of Old Ypres, which permeated the fertile soils of Gilly Gilly Gully, to speak with the god of the soil and get some first-hand information. The god offered up a deluge of raw lotus roots and a vision. In this vision, Clem saw that the fire speakers counted the Saddikars, one of the oldest families in Uduasha, among their allies, and that the Saddikars were hosting a top fire speaker philosopher. Finally, the crew learned when the Bitter Gourd Bakshi wagons would be heading out to auction off their supplies, and with this information in hand, the crew embarked on their next score. Thank you for listening to Desperate Attune. You can support us with a one-time donation on Ko-fi or for $1 a month on Patreon for access to bonus content such as post-game banter, experience, and a newsletter from Tree.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. Where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame. Where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes. Where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework. And where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama. So, you have the Bob's, like, work gangs loaded up nearby, and what we see is these people. This is a family that owns rather a lot of land, right? So we see these very large patches where they grow melons and bottle gourds, and they specialize in things that grow on the vine. So there's these large organized plantations. There's a ton of workers about, who most of them have served this family for generations. It's like complicated pseudo-feudal bonds between them. In the background is the estate itself of the family, which is quite some distance away, where the Bakshis themselves are in residence. It's a large, sprawling estate. And then there is like a yard, like a big court area where the golems are parked. And there are 3 of them. One of them is fully packed. One of them and the other 2 are like in the process of being filled up by the workers. All of this is done manually. These are not high-tech people, so it's a lot of like throwing stuff in baskets, baskets being carried, baskets being hauled up on top of the golem, probably people climbing ladders. Because these are not convenient like modern-day trucks, right? They're big walking tables with containers at the top of them. So this is the scene you see as you arrive, and I guess you're like, there's no sneaking, right? You're basically just rushing in, weapons drawn.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think one of the things to also consider is that Gilly is one of the more vertical districts as well, kind of like Pasarantu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there are terraced farms probably going on. But I'm imagining this. Yeah,
the big houses. Maybe like the big house is either like below or above the farm.
I'm thinking it's above the farm. I think that's cooler. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It also makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you see is scions and members of the family and people sworn to it, holding. Probably they are armed with farming tools, but same as you, they are farming tools that are very capable of being used for war. So they are essentially improvised pole arms. Shovels and hoes and that sort of thing. And they make them ready. They have some advanced warning that you're coming. So we see these people heft the weapons. And we also see up on the first golem, the one that you are planning to hijack, is a few guards, like trained guards, who appear to be here incognito. But it's very, very obvious from your stance that these are professional fighters. They're like trying to hide who they work for. So they are dressed in fairly like neutral cloaks and hoods and robes. But in Blade's terms, they're on heavy load. Like it's obvious looking at them that they are armed to the teeth with all sorts of things under their cloaks and their jackets. They are probably armored. And yeah, they pack a tremendous amount of weaponry, which is your first sign that they don't work for the Bakshis. They can't afford that kind of thing. They belong to whoever is planning to conduct this auction. One of them is the person commanding the golem, sitting at the very front of it, driving it. And that person, while armed to the teeth, does appear to be quite expertly versed in commanding golems. And then there are 2 others. So the first obvious challenge is these 3 highly professional guards on the golem itself, the one that's primed for stealing. But the second thing is far more disconcerting, I think, to Mushfiq. And it is this: the farmhands that ready their weapons against you, that hold their poles and their sticks and so on, they know the Rising Moon sword style. Not very well, but they know it.
But how?
You can see it in their stance.
And Mushfiq also says, but how?
Yeah.
That style was thought to have been dead.
Yeah. Like the way their feet.
Well, I mean, actually, I think it kind of does. I think when if you think about it for a couple of seconds, the but how is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And so Mushfiq does think about it, and then he goes, "The bastards."
Yeah. So they have both the stance and the firmness in them that they can fight like a Ketrisi militia. They are tougher than they look.
Do they outnumber us?
I mean, they don't outnumber all of you, but also all of you are not trained swordsmen. A lot of the Skovlanders are coming in pretty much unarmed, right? They come in with like a stick aiming to swing it at someone and pick up a basket and run. So they don't outnumber you in total, but they definitely outnumber your like trained combatants.
All right, but like how many people roughly are we dealing with?
I think you're looking at maybe 24 farmhands besides the 3 people up on the thing. And there's also a lot of workers who are probably going to be forced into defending the crops. So this situation is about to descend into chaos extremely quickly. And let us begin with Mushfiq, who is rushing in and coming face to face with a handful of these farmhands and seeing their stances and how they hold their sticks.
Yes. Okay, so out of character, are we killing these farmhands? They didn't do anything wrong, I guess. Would it be a bad look to kill them? Probably shouldn't do that, I guess.
We showed up with like about 100 people.
I don't think we can. It seems to me, at least, that it is
Well-
very unlikely that we can kind of limit the kind of violence we're going for. Like personally, I think we should, but
Yeah, and I guess it's more like, we've started a riot, and I think we've accepted that people might die, but that's sort of different from Mushfiq, a very, a fairly talented swordsman fighting some farmhands and slaughtering them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't show up saying we're going to kill a bunch of people.
All right. Well, I guess what happens will happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm interested to see how Mushfiq takes this, because this seems like it might remind him of when the Aparossi came to Kethras, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're on the
Actually,
raiding side. Mhm.
If Mushfiq has misgivings about killing these farmhands, why not just say it? I think the first thing Mushfiq goes is just try to get, he just goes, what's sufficiently intimidating? I think he just say something like, I don't want to spill any more blood off the farmhands who just happen to be in the way, but I will if I need to. So, make your
Don't
choice.
break me.
Make your choice. Yeah, make your choice. Make your choice now.
Yeah.
You want to run and live, or do you want to stay and die?
So these guys have some combat training. They're not just the people picking plants, right?
Yeah,
There's a hierarchy here, basically. The people who know how to fight outrank the people who are just picking melons.
Yeah,
but,
the soldier as it were.
Yeah. But it sounds like an action, and it sounds like risky, because that's what the engagement roll told us. And I think that it is standard insofar as you can get these people who immediately stand in your way, the people who will otherwise rush you and try to push you to the ground, to disperse. So it doesn't deal with the dozens of others, but it gives you free reign to move across the field right in this moment, if you get a standard success now. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And commanding them. So it's risky standard?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's more
Okay.
complicated than that. And I have a devil's bargain, obviously,
Okay.
which is announcing loudly that you are Sherikatam. It makes sense
Oh.
that would frighten them, but it also means that the people here become very quickly aware of what an oh shit moment this is.
I'm happy to do the announcing if Sherikatam would never call himself Sherikatam.
I mean, he has called himself Sherikatam, but that was to Jasper. All right, how about the devil's bargain is Vidrohi calls out Vidrohi hears Mushfiq say the line, and he goes, yeah, this is Sherikatam,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I think announcing your presence both makes success more likely and also has some consequences. So
All right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not just me. It's the entire gang. It's my little gang. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
Sherikatam!
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, you have your devil's
take it.
bargain.
I have it, and
Uh-huh.
it worked. Thank you.
6.
It's
Yeah.
a 6.
So at first they stand firm, but as they hear Sherikatam called out, they know that you have done battle on this kind of battlefield. They know you from somewhere, and they stand aside. And then one of them calls after you as you rush past him, as you head towards the bounty. He says, Sherikatam, no, you misunderstand. We're on the same side. And he runs after you. He drops his weapon and he runs after you as if to try to reason with you.
I think, I think Mushfiq will, because I think Mushfiq does understand what's going on. He stops, but he goes on the same side. Like, what do you mean? Make it quick.
Against the Empire, against the enemies of Iruvia.
Are we all there, or is he isolated?
I
guess
think
I
that
just
you are
ran a little bit
nearby,
ahead.
but I also think that the din is such that it's hard to hear this conversation unless you're very near Sherikatam. Like, I mean, you're all in the scene, but I think, are you near enough, Sherikatam, that you can hear this shouted conversation over the din of battle? That's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Clem isn't near enough, but has such an awareness of Mushfiq that they're able to.
Yeah, because you're watching each other's backs
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
I get that.
Make out what happened. Yeah, makes sense. So you are aware of this happening. Very good.
Mm.
And Mushfiq slows down but doesn't stop, you said. And he replies?
Oh no, I said that Mushfiq had stopped, but upon
Okay.
hearing this, he I think he turns around and he walks towards the guy who called him out, and I think he's got like Mushfiq's got his sword out, and he'll grab the other guy by the collar and he goes, I recognize your stance. You've got him, right? You've been with the Shahid?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
have.
Prepare to die.
No.
Sorry, God.
Yeah. You have. What have you been doing with him?
He's been teaching us.
What?
That's what.
And he goes, teaching you. Just what? He just turned up one day and started giving out lessons.
Yes, this man says, and you can tell that he is entirely sincere. He's also a farmhand, so he's not the most well versed to the politics behind it, but he speaks the truth from his point of view.
And Mushfiq is utterly dumbfounded, and he goes, "Yes." He actually turned up and started handing out lessons to you.
By the command of Samir Bakshi, yes. He owns this land.
By the command of Bakshi, he turned up and started giving out lessons.
Yeah. Bakshi said there would be trouble, there would be attacks, but this must be some sort of misunderstanding. Call off your attackers. We're not working with the Empire. We really aren't.
Meanwhile, I'm attacking the golems.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should cut away here because you had a lot of conversation.
Good. I think it's a good time because some gears are slowly turning in Mushfiq's head as he tries to take advantage of this. So let me think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Bidderhi, you are rushing for this golem. Yeah.
Yes.
It's in a courtyard. There are people between you and it, and there are these like 3 heavily armed individuals on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think we are going to. So I think the first thing is for me to get there, right? I think we're going to fight our way through. Okay,
so you are just leading your gang, fighting your way through these guys with sticks in the way.
Yeah, it's myself, my particular gang, the Bodmeshes, as I've decided to call them.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Yes.
Okay, then.
I sense a pun, but okay.
No, it just means rascals.
No, it just means
Very good.
Yes. I'm going to rush them with the Bodmeshes and also our main cohort.
So it's a group action with both cohorts.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We have both
interesting.
And I guess the Scovlanders are keeping everyone else busy. I won't be rolling for them.
Yeah, basically.
We have Blood Brothers. Let me quickly check what that does.
So you were doing kind of a spearhead attack here, just rushing in with a ton of people. Yeah, it sounds like it's risky, and it sounds like it will have standard effect in the sense that like it's a big courtyard, there's a lot of people about, but I think standard success here will be quite good, which will mean you will probably kill some people or injure some people, but the main effect of it is like the farmers just fuck off and run away from the courtyard, which is very exposed to incoming attacks, and also you look very scary. So if you succeed here, there won't be very many casualties because you just send everyone fleeing into the fields. That isn't like a trained warrior.
I'm going to go for Desperate Great, and here I want Great Effect to be that we do it non-lethally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfectly fair. So there will be some people who are like knocked over, tripped, pushed into a ditch. Yeah. But most people will simply flee.
Yeah, we have all got sticks, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense why it's desperate. Because they have sticks too, but their sticks have like sharp bits of metal at the end to do farm work with, so they can hurt you far worse than you can hurt them.
Yeah, our sticks have blunt bits of metal attached to them, so they can still hurt them. So it's not just sticks versus sticks, but basically non-lethal. Okay, Desperate Great. Let's go. May I have a Devil's Bargain? Because even though I'm rolling many dice, I should not get overconfident about it.
Okay, sure. So the Devil's Bargain will apply to your own personal roll.
Yes.
And, what is a suitable... Yeah, okay. I think the suitable Devil's Bargain is you will... No, this is just something that Bidderhi wants. Never mind. I think the suitable Devil's Bargain is actually one of your cohorts will get split off. They will get delayed. They will, like, you will still get there, and you will get one of the cohorts with you, but the other one will be in trouble.
Okay.
Along the way.
Okay. Well, They're all adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart
Even-
from Pejal, but sure.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Unfortunately, Bejal's also an adult, so he doesn't have that excuse. That's part of the
Yeah,
problem.
you can pick which one comes with you and which one gets waylaid.
Yeah, I'm going to show up in my personal cohort, obviously. It's
Yeah.
my personal cohort.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we already succeed. Let's see if any of them let us down. So the
And
blood
causes
matches.
some stress.
Yeah. So we have blood brothers, which means that group actions are rolled with a +2. Sorry, +1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a crit.
Wow.
That's grit.
Mm-hmm.
+1's a 4.
Mhm.
But yeah, we got a crit.
Damn, 3 ones.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I will let you choose one of 2 possible crit bonuses here.
Okay.
I think. So, the first is you are so impressive in this that basically all of the Bakshi people will stay the hell away from the golem, and you will only have to deal with the 3 professionals while outnumbering them with a gang of your own. So that's not only do you scare people off the courtyard now, no one's going to dare to go back on it. That's one possible crit bonus. The other possible crit bonus is that you figure out what the 3 men are up to while you're doing this. So you get some information about them.
Go for the information.
Okay, yeah. So you might still be attacked by behind if the farmers rally and so on. But you keep your eye on these runners. And you see all 3 men take out a small vial from inside their pockets and down some sort of drug or alchemical liquid or something like that. And it's one of those things where they down them, and then you spot one man's eyes light up, and even from all across the battlefield, you see something shining in his visage, and you recognize, powerful bullshit. In fact, I think you recognize it directly. It's demon magic.
Okay. So we got 3 demonically empowered mercenaries who are no slouches themselves. Normally, they're also riding golems, which are sentient objects that can also potentially fight. I mean, I'm not sure if that'll come down to it, but I'm just flagging. Yeah, okay. Sure.
And as for what happens to your crew that gets waylaid, is so apparently they have prepared for incoming attacks, and it's not that the farmers fight you; it's just that there's physically less space in the confusion. Mona Darling veers off slightly, and it's a lot of scuffle, a lot of fighting initially. They try to pursue some of the farmers to chase them off the farmland, and the infrastructure here is not great, and this is a great weight of people. So there's a little plank walkway so that you can walk out over the fields without stepping on anything. They rush out on that and it collapses. And so the crew's cohort have slipped down into the fields.
No! So I had to get them out.
Yeah, I would like to resist that.
Okay.
It's not a consequence, is it?
It's a devil's bargain, so you can take an action to
sorry.
stop it, but you can't resist it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
sorry,
we can
I'm
see
not
what
gonna
Seda does.
resist.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So how I'm picturing this is there is some verticality, right? So this courtyard is slightly elevated. There are stairs going up where you have to carry the baskets. And they tried to chase the workers off towards these stairs, and the whole platform just came down under them.
Yeah, okay. Okay, actually, you know what? In that case, I don't think that I am resisting your right. What I'm doing is that I think that fighting in vertical environments is one of the things that Saida has been training with the cohort on, because
We live in Udasha.
yeah, exactly. And so I think what I'm going to do is I would like to roll, I think, command to kind of direct them. So I think what's happening is that Saida is kind of seeing this happen and is just going to yell out, Pilot, grab Bejal before he breaks his head. Mona, darling, look up to your left, just ensure that they don't get hurt as a result, right?
Okay, so risky standard here. Standard will be they will do a controlled descent, so they will not fall down head over heels and land in a mess. They will glide down the muddy slope and come down still on their feet. if you want great effect, I will say that they will be able to scale the broken stairs back up without delay.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that I will do Desperate Great here. I will trade position for effect. And I think what's happened is that I've taken my eyes off whatever is happening around me. I am so focused on making sure that they don't get in trouble that I am not fully cognizant to the fact that I am also still actually in a battleground.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I will roll command.
I'll assisting you.
Oh, thank you.
The nature of an assist is that Tumdorji has outfitted everyone with sick boots that have great grip.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay.
God. Sure. So that's
Fair
one
enough.
Desperate, great, one bonus die. And then I will also roll that too. Is that how that works?
And no, in this case you are commanding them, so they are not helping. They are the target of your action.
Okay.
So this is not a group action with them. In this case, I think.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Do you want a devil's bargain?
I would like to hear one.
So the devil's bargain is that normally Said is very aware about supernatural bullshit going on, and Bidru has just been made aware of it, and you were cut off from each other. The devil's bargain here is you focus on this so to the point that your supernatural senses fail you, and you will, for the rest of the score, not be able to figure out what the demon-possessed guys are doing.
Oh man!
Like, I'll just establish now that you have no idea what the fuck is up with their demon magic.
I think that I'm going to say no, but that's so I think the reason I want to say no here is that I don't think Saida can afford to look that incompetent. If we were tier 0, I would have said yes. You know what I mean? But I think in this case, yeah. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. I will push myself for a die. I've got the stress. So command, desperate, great, 2 bonus dice. Let's go.
Yep.
6.
Okay. They slide down the slope, and they immediately turn around. They grab the remnants of the broken stairs. They grab each other. There's still enough of the stairs standing that they can, they can't step on the steps necessarily because they've mostly fallen away, but pull themselves by the railings back up the slope, right? Even though it's slippery and all.
Yeah, I think the desperate position here is kind of still reflected in the fact that this happens and I just step out of the way of somebody trying to stick me in the gut, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, I need to I'm still in a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you avoid this consequence for now.
Yes.
And lastly, let us check in with Clem.
I think Clem is has got embroiled in the fighting, but having noticed Mushfiq is talking to somebody, they just kind of backhands one farmhand out of the way and is wading back through to Mushfiq's side.
Yeah, it sounds like an action to reunite with Mushfiq and doing this without your side of the battle collapsing because you are formidable. And you are probably, in fact, leading these Skovlanders who are just running in to steal shit. So you're a little bit like the shield of them. So sounds, again, like Risky Standard. And it can be either a prowl or a skirmish, I think. You're moving across the battlefield, but you're also fighting your way through it. So
yeah, holding a position, that sounds like skirmish to me. Both are equally the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Risky Standard.
Yeah, I have a devil's bargain for you. Yeah, there is one. So you asked the god of the lotus root for intercession here, and it's probably one of the minor gods. That's not because none of the ones that are strongly allied with these people would speak with you. So you can get straight to Mushfiq if you trample the fresh, young, growing lotus root growing in their little ponds and offend the god you have made friends with.
I don't think Clem would do that.
Yep.
I think they're all. Yeah, this is a faith that's important to them in terms of.
Polite.
Yeah.
Not polite. Not polite. It's more. This is the closest to a faith that they recognise.
Yeah, you respect the earth, right? Yeah, I want to throw you devil's bargains that are hard, so I'm glad you're saying no to this because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think part of me is I think I'm just going to roll flat Slap 1, see how it goes. Let's get something exciting. Come on, man. Nice. That's a 6.
It's a 6. So you make your way over to Mushfiq, and let's reunite Clem and Mushfiq in this conversation with this one guy.
Man, that's so good. Wow.
My Mushfiq's harebrained idea, and my harebrained idea was to pull rank, which is, So he looks at the guy. So you're Ustad Shahid student, yeah? Well, I'm Ustad Shahid's oldest student, so technically,
call me senpai.
See, I hate this. Why am I even trying?
And what's your goal here? To get him to fight on your side, or to get him to take you somewhere, or just to clarify? Like, as you see Clem coming towards you and seeing what's up with this conversation. And Clem, you can hear the conversation here clearly, I think.
I guess 2 things. One is to get him to call his, like, the people who are, in his group to stop fighting, and for him to lead me to where Ustad Shahid or, someone important might be. But I was going to get to that after I convince him that I'm actually in charge.
Yeah, sure. I think these are both things you can do if you convince him you're in charge, and I think it's perfectly feasible for you to do this. I'm going to call it risky standard again. I don't see it as desperate, because you're not in like a particularly vulnerable spot. And it's standard because I think it makes sense. He respects Ustad Shahid a lot, and he respects you, so... Clem, are you assisting in this as you hear this conversation? Like, I am your superior.
I'm the superior officer.
To get me.
And we have both served under Ustad Shahid, is I think important information for Clem to get at this point. What great effect would get you here is, I think great effect would be him and his entire crew are going to escort you straight to the Ustad at wherever he is.
I don't know, maybe we should Mushfiq do that alone, or with the crew at his back?
Clem is here, so Clem can come along.
Oh, that's true, yeah. You know what? Let's go for
hold hands.
Great. Oh, yeah,
would you like to make this a group action? Because I've got Attune command, and I know that the fire speakers have been treating with our what's her name, Lady Aisha. I think that's an important detail to include.
Yeah. So you can definitely say that and make it a group action. I think it makes sense.
All right, so
what do you actually say to this guy, Clem, just to focus on how you get involved here? How do you reveal that you know about Lady Aisha?
Yeah, so Clem comes up, goes, I know that you've been, not you, your Lady Aisha's been making deals in the dark with a bunch of people that speak a lot of pretty words. You're going to take us to there.
Okay. Yeah, desperate great group action it is. Both of you rolling command.
And so I'm leading, right?
Yeah. I believe so.
Okay, and I can push myself for an extra die in a group action as well. All right, I shall do that. And it is 2 and a 3. Ouch.
Oh, a fail.
Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck it, I'm going to spend the stress to activate traumatic flashbacks to roll trauma +1. So I'm rolling 4 die here. Because I think this is, deferring to Mushfiq here, but seeing how his words aren't having much effect, they're like, I've got to do this for you. And just, let it take over once again.
Okay.
So that is a crit.
Wow.
That is a crit with Clem. Okay, so Mushfiq takes a stress from failing, but it is a success and a crit. And what happens here is that this guy, he rallies his own troops. He is some sort of like minor leader among them, I guess. So he raises his stick, he rallies it, and he says, don't fight them! This way, let me through! Let us through! And he has a surprising amount of authority from this crit bonus. And so the effect here is not only are you guys swept away from the field, the crit bonus you get is that in all the chaos, no one in charge notices this, because it looks like a strategic retreat, and no one notices that you're among the people who are strategically retreating, or tactically retreating, I guess is the word. So you're just kind of retreating alongside their unit back to the farm.
Incredible.
this is totally unnoticed by either the family themselves or by the three like mercenaries. So we'll return to Mushfiq and Clem, I guess, but I think that's a satisfying crit bonus. And this also means, as a side note, that of course the enemy doesn't know that you're gone from the battlefield. Otherwise, they would probably like try to rally their troops or something. But now the Skovlanders are just running around, stealing everything, and aren't particularly stopped because everyone's like, "Shit, where's Clem and Cherikatam? We need to watch out for them."
I've heard they're scary.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, screw fighting this guy. He isn't even armed. I need to find the dangerous enemy. They could be behind me.
Clem used to fight for Dakarosin.
Yeah. Yep. And so let's cut back to Bidrahi. They have had their potion, and I will give you a moment to say what you do, and I will flag this here because they are hopped up on demon drugs. You might just have to resist before you get to actually take your action, depending on what you're doing.
Can I flashback here to have given Bidrahi some alkahest from my bandolier?
You can absolutely do that. I think it's a one stress thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the alkahest would counter the alchemicals, I suppose, if you can like hit them with it.
Make them drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spray bottle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have a ampule of that with me. Nice. Thanks.
Yep.
I think I want to figure out what's up with them first.
Yep.
I want to size up my opponent. I mean, I can see what they're armed with. What are they armed with? Do they have guns?
So what you could tell is that they have these like robes on and like many pockets, so they're armed with multiple things. But firearms are definitely among them, and I think in fact you can see that they draw out guns at this point because it just makes sense. They're up on these elevated like walking platforms, right? The guns are their go-to weapons initially. I don't think they have like entire rifles, just because it's very hard to bring those discreetly, and they're supposed to be somewhat discreet. But they do have like high-quality pistols.
Okay, I'm going to figure out what's going on with them. So Attune. Yeah, I'm going to sort of like look at them and kind of like we're in highly charged earth, ancient earth, and so on. And I think we're quite near the temple of She Who Slays in the Dark, the mercy-minded one, who is a goddess whose favor I earned earlier. So I think, and yeah, so basically I want to kind of like tap into that, kind of like that lingering blessing to kind of understand what the hell's going on.
To do an attune?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because you have that blessing, I was going to say this is risky limited, but because you have that blessing, let's make it risky standard.
Okay.
And it's risky mainly because you're just studying them, you're not approaching them yet.
Yeah. I'm going to push myself, or is there Devil's Bargain?
What's an interesting Devil's Bargain
Maybe
here?
something to do with, like, I don't know, if I'm calling on the goddess again, maybe I become embroiled in her again. Now I'm in a position to, like, do something for the cult, right? I wasn't last time.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Yeah. In fact, let's say that it's... Okay, the Devil's Bargain here is that you will automatically get the entanglement, like demonic notice, but it won't be the demons, it will be a Rakshasa, and it will be a powerful Rakshasa, who will show up and have a chat with you afterwards.
Okay.
Totally good. I was going to say that I'm going to give you an assist because I think I have been, over the course of, like, you know, the last few months, teaching you a little bit about how to recognize demonic influence. Because it's a really useful thing to know, actually.
Okay. And I will say this, like, you were going for risky standard, and standard information will give you true but not necessarily complete information, which is important. So you can go for great, in which case you will get true and complete information.
Okay, I'm going to push for great.
Okay.
No need to make it desperate. It's 4. Good thing I didn't go for desperate.
Yeah, but you did push for great, right? So you do get the full information.
Yeah, I did.
And the risk. Yeah. So you reach out to She Who Slays in the Dark, and she has marked these men. They have killed before. They are private security. They are marked by the presence of a demon beside just their alchemicals. And they're marked in two ways. So I get the first thing you sense is the look in their eye as one of them turns towards you. It's a look that you have seen before in men covered in leeches. These are Ixis alchemicals. But, and here is the interesting thing, they do not work for House and Ixis. They have ties to it. They are definitely being supplied by it, but they do not have the blessing of Ixis itself.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, but I don't know which alchemical it is or what it does.
Yes, I think you get that information too on Great. And I think this is not something you attune to. Once you figure out that it is like Ixis's energy behind their eyes, and once you figure out they don't have this, House and Ixis, one of their most like famous thing that they've used. I think they've used this in the Colosseum time to time when like an actual scion has been showing off their skill. One of their alchemicals makes people perceive the world far, far slower. It gives them amazing reflexes. This is what these three men have imbibed. They now act first. This is what I warned you about.
Great.
All right. Can I do a quick flashback to do a training action?
Sure.
Okay. My training is just literally training in the grounds. Yeah. I'm going to take a playbook advancement with this training.
Are you going to take reflexes?
Yes, I'm going to take reflexes.
Okay.
No one
else.
Else. No one else. Yes, I'm happy for it.
Fair enough. Yeah. What?
I'm happy for it to cause stress.
Yeah, I think it's a one stress flashback. It's not completely out of the place, but it is a bit like I trained specifically for this situation. So yeah, they now have the special ability reflexes, where it basically says you act first, unless the other person also has reflexes. And now Bitter has acquired this special ability too. So you've evened the field between you personally and them. They're still very much a danger to your gang.
Yeah.
Well, gangs, because both of your cohorts are here.
Yeah. I don't know if this is another rule, but like, is it clear to me which one's the leader?
Yeah, it's the one who's sitting on the fully packed one, the ones you want to steal, and he is also the most dangerous of the bunch. And he has drawn a pistol now, so.
Hey, you gun guy, get on here. You and me. Come on. Let's see it.
Okay.
So I'm going to demand satisfaction of him.
Okay, how does this ability work again?
So I can issue a challenge to single opponent to compel them to fight me for a few minutes. I take 1 stress to draw their full attention, and then I can add extra features.
Okay, so the way this will work is that he will absolutely not harm the rest of your gang, but I don't think he's going to jump down from the platform, because your ability doesn't say he has to fight you in melee, and it doesn't make any sense for him to abandon it. So basically, you can activate this ability, and he's going to try to shoot you.
Okay. That's fine. He can shoot me, and so I guess what's going to happen, because this is the rule, he's going to target me, which is potentially good because he's not going to be shooting other people. So I think basically what happens is yet another rush, right? Now the cohort attacks the other two. I attack this guy. We rush towards him. And I'm going to get shot. Yep.
Fair enough. So I think it's a prowl to move quickly, like scale the platform or whatever, get up to him, right? Yeah, are you climbing the leg of the golem, or what does this look like?
I mean, they're mounting food onto the golem, right?
Yeah, and there are ladders.
Yeah. In season 1, we established that golems have bizarre geometry, but but obviously they're probably like compartments. He's on top, so there's definitely going to be ladders and so on. I'm going to do a bit of rock climbing to get up to him, essentially.
Okay. Climbing, Shadow of the Colossus style, climbing on the
How big is
jutting waxwork of the thing. I mean, not that big, but that was just the imagery that went into my mind. I think it's tall. Yeah, it's tall enough that getting stuff on top of it is like the equivalent of getting stuff on top of a 1-story house, like the roof of a 1-story house. So it's not. It's not impossibly far, but it's.
So basically,
it's not just a little hop and a skip. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to roll. Is it desperate because I'm going to get shot?
Oh yeah, it's desperate. I mean, this is a guy with good aim, with reflexes, who has a gun trained on you.
Yep. And even though I have reflexes, it's a gun.
Yeah. But you have standard effect in the sense that you can scale the. I mean, if he misses, then he misses, and you can scale it before he has time to reload. So.
Okay. So desperate standard. I'm going to roll. Of course, I'm also doing it with the cohort, so I'll roll for them after.
Yep.
And I would like to reveal something about the cohort.
Hang on, wasn't the cohort dealing with the other people though?
Yeah, but like we're climbing up together,
Okay.
so I'm also rolling. So essentially, we're all getting onto our targets.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Group
I'm
action with
rolling
the
for that
cohort it is.
Yeah, and I want to reveal something about the cohort, which is that, and you can tell me if this costs extra stress or if it's fine. Some of the sticks that they've been using, these are not sticks; these are the Giselles we stole.
Okay, that's definitely a stress thing because it's. But I think it's just a 1 stress because it's not like super weird.
Yeah.
But pay 1 stress for them to have their Giselles, absolutely. They've just been hitting people with the butt ends of them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like they're going to rush, and maybe like 2 of them are going to stand back and shoot at these guys and give some covering
Makes
fire,
sense.
and then rush. Yeah. So desperate standard. May I have Devil's Bargain?
Yes, you may.
Because it's scary.
So you were climbing up. You were coming face to face with this person. Okay, I think your Devil's Bargain will simply be this. There was your cohort with like Mona and Bal Murad and stuff. They are returning to the battlefield. Saida directed them to come closer. I'll give you this Devil's Bargain. The person who's dealing with them, and not the other 2 gangs, who has a little bit more time, pulls out a grenade.
Lovely.
Okay, I'm sure Saida can manage it.
Yeah, it will be Saida's problem, I guess.
Well, he's going to pull out a grenade. We'll see what happens with the grenade.
Yeah.
Okay, I will take bonus dice for a grenade to be involved. Very good. Okay. Oh, this is 6. Nice. So we do succeed.
Okay.
Let's see how the
Lovely.
Badmashers do.
Yeah.
4 dice for them because of a group action. Okay. What? That's not
We'll
correct.
count the first couple, but it's not a
What the hell?
failure, and you roll a 6. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Badmashers neither make the situation better nor worse. You roll a 4 for them. You roll a 6 for yourself. So you will make it up into melee range with this guy. He's going to shoot and miss. And Saida, your people are rushing these 3 golems, and the crew cohort led by Mona Darling is charging the one at the back, and they are slower. They have been slowed down by this fall, even as you directed them back up. The guy there has drawn out a grenade, and I think the situation is the crew, like this succeeds, so the crew is scaling the ladders, and they're going to get up on top, but they're obviously not going to get up on top all at once.
Yes.
And there's going to be a grenade taking out the stragglers unless you do something.
Yeah. I mean, indeed. Why wouldn't that happen, right?
Yeah. So the way I'm framing it, because of this, just to make it clear, so that it's still a success, right? There will still be people able to engage this guy in melee, but it won't be the entire cohort because some of them will have to deal with a grenade somehow.
Correct. Okay. I think that when I see grenade, the mind really focuses on grenade. And so I man, am I really gonna do this? Yeah, sure.
Yes, of course you are. I don't know what it is, but you're going to do it.
I see this happen. I don't have reflexes. But I am going to spend, because I'm also 2 XP away from an ability. And so I'm going to spend one of the crew coin. The crew has no coin. Fuck. I'm going to spend a crew rep. No.
Okay.
Do you want some money?
The thing is, I'm wondering whether it is better to do this and take reflexes, or it is better for me to just get in. Yeah, I'm just going to get in. Fuck this. I will just murmur under my breath. Samum, O demon of the desert wind, though my feet are not mine, I beg you, grant me passage for but a moment. Because the fact is that I can't move very quickly, because Samum is still in charge of my feet. So I am genuinely falling to my knees, haha, to ask it, just let me get there. Just help me to get there.
Okay, so you want to run really, really fast towards the grenade. With some
Ramadan's over.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think this is desperate because there is a grenade involved.
Correct.
I think that it is Attune to move really quickly. Because let's not having them actually move quickly be a separate thing. So it's a desperate Attune with standard effect. To get there and to be able to like deal with this grenade in a highly risky fashion. If you somehow push to desperate great, I think you just run straight over there and kick the grenade away because Samum gives you very good control over your feet.
Oh man. Okay. Yes, I will push myself for effect here.
Very good. Then it's desperate great.
Yeah, and I think what I'm going to do is I see this, and in my mind's eye, I have already kicked it out of his hand. That's how you gotta do it. You gotta believe that it's possible. So I will mark another XP. Desperate. Great. Will I get a die for invoking his name?
Yeah, sure. Let's give you a die for invoking his name. It is kind of a devil's bargain. You're drawing on.
I think. Yeah, the problem is very much that I also every time I do this struggle with my voice. I'm gonna get XP for this later. Don't worry about it. This is a pro level strat. And I rolled a 6 on the last die, proving that it was very important.
Yeah. So you call upon Samum, you rush over there, and you kick the grenade away as it like comes down, flying through the air, and you send it into an empty field. Possibly you blow up some bitter gourds.
Oh man, better than blowing up some lotus root, I think.
Yes.
Smells awful.
Yeah, this is the opposite of that cool scene when Legolas comes down the elephant. This is a cool scene where Saida goes up a golem. Yeah. Right. And they go all the way up, very smoothly kick the grenade out of the hands of this rando, and then just looks down at them and says, bow before the Prince of Endings, lest you meet him before your time.
Okay, borne aloft as you are by the desert winds, let's have this action trigger right away. It sounds like a command.
Yep, correct. That's what it is. So what kind of position and effect?
Okay, So your goal is to get this guy to surrender entirely, which I think is difficult. So I'm going to start you off at Desperate Limited, actually. Okay. Desperate because he has reflexes and you don't, so he can just stab you before you have time to finish talking. And the limited effect here will be that he will hesitate long enough that your cohort can jump him and wrestle him down, throw him off the thing, kind of attempt to force his surrender.
Yeah, I think I have 3 stress before I trauma, so I'm not going to push again. But I think actually that's fine. As cool as it would be, I think it's totally reasonable to simply be like, do this and then give me enough time for something to happen. So how does the timing on this work? Because if I gain this XP, it fills out, and I get another dot. Do you reckon
it kicks in afterwards? I think.
I think that's very fast. I will in fact just take 1 XP out of my playbook instead to fill this out right now, and gain another die in command. So, Desperate Limited command. And let us see whether the Prince of Endings is with me. They are not, because that's a 2 or 3 and a 2.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so I think it's exactly as I said. You begin to hold this speech. You fly up before him. You're very visibly using demonic powers yourself. You soar through the air. And the guy just from his point of view, we see him very quickly in his mind go through this person also has some sort of demonic bolstering. This person is about to unleash some form of supernatural counter on me, possibly fatal. This is not good. Good thing I never fired my pistol, but used that grenade. So they shoot you like you kick the grenade out, like fly past them, and they just lightning fast draw the gun into the same hand that was just kicked and shoot you like as you turn around to face him again.
This is like Sherlock Holmes right here, right? Like this is like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes being like, oh yeah. I got it. Yeah.
So in one smooth motion, he shoots you in the heart.
Yeah. So I did not mark load earlier, but I think normal thing's fine because heavy load for me is very heavy because I'm an older one. But I think on normal load, I should have enough load just to be able to mark heavy armor. Because what kind of moron comes to a battle without wearing heavy armor? No comment.
Fair. Okay. Sure. So you're marking heavy armor to downgrade it twice, in which case it's a level 2 harm, and I think that makes it like cracked ribs, because like you still get shot in the chest, and you know the bullet doesn't go through you, but that can still hurt as hell, especially at point blank range. So
so I start with bow before the prince. Shit is more like how it goes.
Yep.
And he's still got reflexes, so now that this has occurred, I'm just gonna try and punch him. Because I don't even have the load that I would need to have the sash, but I also think that I've left... It's not that I have left the sash behind, it's just that that Samum is no longer in the sash. And
let's stay on Zeta for... Yeah, let's stay on Zeta for one more action, have this chaining, and then we'll cut to Clem and Mushfiq again, I think. But absolutely, you can try to skirmish with this guy. I think it's desperate limited, because he is a highly trained professional, so it's desperate limited again.
Yeah.
It's a skirmish.
Because it's so fast, my group hasn't had time to catch up, right? Because that was the failure from the last roll. Cool. Cool, great, fantastic, amazing.
Yeah, if you can hold him off just a little longer, the cohort will be able to swarm him, but...
Yep. Desperate, limited. I'm once more not... Fuck, I need another die somehow, but I can't push myself in case I need the resist. And...
Well, you can take a devil's bargain.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether it's worth letting Samum have my hands.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's one possible devil's bargain.
And the thing is, if that is a level 2 harm, it actually gets automatically upgraded to level 3 because I'm currently both level 2s. It just feels so right. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Like,
yes, you can take a devil's bargain of letting Samum control your whole body as a level 3 harm. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, great. So I will take one bonus die for that. I took the 6. It's just Samum who's doing this. It's the last guy, so it's Samum.
Before this guy has time to draw his sword, you punch him. He is thrown backwards. He's thrown off. Your cohort climbs up. And then you find yourself thrown into the air as Samum lifts you up into a dust devil. And you fly over the battlefield and you dance.
Oh, no. Why am I doing this? This is bad, but hopefully it will strike fear into the hearts of my enemies.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's possible.
And Bitter, you will see this as well. I do think it looks pretty terrifying. It's obviously supernatural, right? It's a demonic mid-air dance. There's some really impressive acrobatics involved.
Oh, yes. I turn to them and I'm dueling. This happens all the time.
Yes. We will get back to Bitter, but I want to check in with Mushfiq and Clem here because I think it's interesting.
But
even though obviously
that this man and I, we just look at each other for a moment of like, oh shit, fuck, this happened again.
Absolutely. So, Clem and Mushfiq, this is still happening in a very hurried state, but you're rushed to the like farm estate itself. And so, do you think here that like you got a crit on this? So, do you think here that this is just they're just gonna like rush you to wherever the Ustad is and like kick in the door or something? Or do you think that it's more a case of... I guess what I'm establishing is something about Ustad Shahed, which is, do you think that he would wait for you?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think we've ever established any tags for Ustad Shahed.
I think it'd be very cool if he was expecting this and he comes out to meet us.
Yeah. I pictured Ustad Shahed as being not like very old, like not actually maybe not that old. But I guess if Mushfiq is, I guess my age, then maybe Usasha has like maybe 10, like 15 years older. So it's not. I never thought of him as being that old, and I thought of him being as being like very polite, like almost to a fault. Like he'd thank his his jailer for like a glass of water, like, oh yes, that kind of thing. So I don't know if we had something else, like you had something else in mind, Prince, but so I think it sort of makes me. I guess it would make sense for him to be just patiently waiting somewhere. This is life as it take life as it comes.
Is Prince no longer there? I mean,
he's been disconnected quite rudely, he might add. But I can see him in the. Oh, okay, nice now.
He has left.
Let us hold hands and pray.
All right.
Hold my hand.
I am always holding your hand in my mind, sibling.
Who's got sweaty hands? Come on,
Me.
come on, guys.
No, not me. I have very dry hands, actually.
My hands are always sweaty.
All right, a heap.
Yeah. Cold and clammy.
Why would you
Clemmy?
double down?
Because that's how Uriah Heep's hands kept being described in what? David Copperfield. Yeah, that's where he's from.
When we read that, Uriah Heep's cold and clammy hands was was often a topic of discussion amongst all the boys.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you saying?
That we discussed Uriah Heep's cold and clammy hands a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prince, are you back with us?
And do you want to talk about Uriah Heep's cold and clammy hands?
Again, apparently.
Yeah.
I do not think Prince is back with us.
No, he says he can't hear us either.
That's
But yes,
No, does he?
this is going to be a good moment, I think. Mushfiq, you get to introduce your situationship, perhaps? The will they, won't they?
I mean, you're not wrong.
To your dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go. I'm back.
Hello.
Wonderful.
Hello.
The region to automatic. I don't know where that puts us.
It puts us in automatic.
Yeah.
It puts us in Norway because I came here first.
Okay. Yeah, I see. That's
That's probably also the midway point between all of us.
Yeah, fair enough. So now we're in automatic region. Yes, what was the last thing I said?
The last thing we were talking about is, are we breaking in, or is the child just sort of waiting for us?
Yeah.
And I guess that depends on, is he a prisoner here, or is he actually free to roam around? I guess it depends on that. I said that I always pictured him as being a very overly polite, kind of a guy. He'd always be thankful to his jailers for.
In that case, I think you get into the room where he is. It's mostly like if he's the sort of guy who would break out of a place as he senses that someone is coming to break in, but it doesn't sound like he is. It sounds like he's the kind of guy to sit and wait patiently.
Yeah, he's a take life as it comes kind of guy.
Yeah. So you enter one of the many houses of the farm, and it's this is a big farm estate, so they have an entire guest house, where guests live.
Yes.
And so you enter that house, right? And I think what you see is a couple of people, obviously they have actual semi-professional security people for the farm who are protecting the farmhouse itself and the people who live here. And I think what we will see is Ustad Shahed sitting cross-legged, fairly relaxed at the back of the room, slowly sipping tea. And by his side are, I think, some actual members of the Bakshi family. I think they're young members who, for whatever reason, they were talking to him. Now they're frightened and they feel safe with him. So it's like a young woman and a little boy who are very nicely dressed, obviously belong to the landowner class. So, they're not nobility, but they're definitely quite rich people.
This is their origin story.
Yeah. So they are like fearfully sitting nearby. And what does the Ustad himself look like? Or let me frame it like this: how do you remember him looking like? And I will tell you what has changed.
I also mentioned that I thought that Shahid wouldn't be that much older than Mushfiq. Like maybe the age difference is like 15 years, as opposed to like him being like way older.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I guess last I remember Shahid would be. I also think he's the kind of guy, and maybe like some of this is like Mushfiq's imagination and kind of elevating his Ustad in his imagination. But I think even during like the war and the lack of food, there was always something pristine, like something very youthful about him. Right? He never looked famished. He never looked like he was aging. And I think I'll say Ustad Shahid is exactly the opposite type of teacher to Saida, which is he's more of the gentle love kind of Ustad, smile on his face, like
Yeah.
The kind of teacher that Saida sometimes wishes they could be.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what is different about him. And it is, first of all, he's grown a little bit of a beard, which I think, as a militia, he was probably a little bit scraggly, but he kept it practically trim.
Yeah.
But he looks older, but in a graceful way. Like he's grown out his beard. He's taken on a bit more of like a mature man aesthetic. But more to the point, the thing that more stands out about him to you is that he wears a red and orange turban in the style of the fire speakers, and he wears like fairly plain robes alongside them. And he slowly sips his tea. He looks up and he says, a regrettable reunion. But I'm glad to see you, Mushfiq. Come in, call off your troops, please.
Shoot him, kill him.
I think Mushfiq is. I think firstly he is like a bit overcome with emotion upon seeing his son for the first time. Like he's a bit. I think the emotions sort of come in waves, right? At first, like he sees Usa for his first time, and then like he's overjoyed, but he's also a little, and then there's a little bit of trepidation, like because the scene doesn't make sense. And I think so. I think will first I think almost kind of automatically, like on reflex, he kind of just bows his head a little bit, and I don't know whatever people in Gethers do to show respect to their elders. Kneeling a bit, and he says, Ustad, I've come for you. Forgive me for being so late.
I am glad to see you, and I'm glad you've come. Are the children safe? They've been my first concern, and why I haven't come outside. The family trusts me with them. And he indicates the young woman and the little boy by his side. And this is perfectly genuine. He is concerned with protecting them. This is important to him.
Like, he's asking if they're safe from me?
Yeah, from you and or your men. Like, he doesn't quite know the situation, right? He doesn't know if a bunch more warriors are a bunch to, like, burn this house down or something. So that's the vibe of what he's asking.
This isn't about your men. This isn't about the children. This is about getting the harvest to the people who need it most. They're safe.
Yeah. He looks at Mushfiq, and I think he says, theft then? Well, provisioning, forgive me.
Liberation, friend.
I think Mushfiq won't even answer that, because he's like, too much of this doesn't make any sense, right? So I think he doesn't even register the question, and he just goes, "But what are you doing here, and why are you dressed like that?" That's not the standard Kithrasin militia uniform.
Not the standard Kithrasin militia uniform.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He doesn't say the last word.
Yeah. He stands, I think, and he does it with like not very slowly, with like an elegant grace. He gets to his feet, and he says, "It's not. I have come to realize that our problem is bigger than Kethris alone."
Oh no, he's talking like that man's brother! Oh no! I love this. This is so good.
This is about more than just provisioning, though. If your people need food, I will not stand in your way, regrettable as it is. But I would like for you to call them off, and we can work together again. We can continue fighting for a cause. He says pointedly a cause, not the cause.
And Mushfiq says, I think what stands out to Mushfiq is he goes, my people? Those are what our people. What are you saying?
Yes, of course our people. But these are also our people, he says, and he puts his hand on the heads of the two children beside him. And he looks you very seriously in the eye and he says, Iruvians, Mushfiq. And I think in this moment you recall what you read in that play, in that awful prophecy you came across. By Gurban's action, Ustad Shahed would die.
Because everything that he was disappeared. Oh, it's so good.
Shoot him. Get him.
No, the Mushfiq's heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
Roll to resist heartbreak.
Clem, shoot him.
No, or not heartbroken. He goes, I think, maybe he's still a bit in denial, or he first says that maybe you should ask the people whose colors you're wearing what they think about Iruvian unity. I think he still has the pamphlet or the thing, the print in his, and how is he? How far away? What's the distance? How big of a room are we talking about?
Yeah, you can walk into the room and show it to him. I think it's like a sizable room, but it's a room. No, it's not like a great hall. Yeah.
So,
you step in.
Yeah, steps in and he Mushfiq pulls out the pamphlet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uduasha for what did it say? Just Uduasha for Uduasha only, something like that.
Yeah.
Uduasha for Uduashans. It says make Uduasha great again.
Yeah. He looks at it and he says, "Yes, politics, diversions. You should know better than this, Mushfiq." He scolds you a little bit. Sometimes we must faint to face down our true enemies. But I have spoken with the fire speakers. I've come to realize there is no way for us to cast off the Empire's shackles without Uduasha, and they have the demon princess. And now, Mushfiq, we have the demon princess.
Your demon princes have done nothing. Have done nothing but to slaughter us by the thousands, drive us off our lands. This is what we were fighting against. I think at this point, I don't think Mushfiq's not going to wait for answers, and he keeps saying that, look, I don't know what they've said to you, I don't know what they've done to you, but I'm taking you back. And he draws his sword.
Damn!
Yeah.
The meetings will continue until morale improves.
Yeah. He looks at you, and it takes him a moment, but he draws his sword too, just almost as if he's sparring with you, almost as if it's just a debate between friends, right? Just conversation over swords. And he says, "We were wrong, Mushfiq, but we were also right. We need to cast out the Empire. We need to get rid of the modernizers who would strip our lands from us. But we were fighting against the one thing we should have been fighting for. Unity."
This sounds like poetic talk to me.
Yeah.
This sounds like Starship Troopers kind of thing. I'm doing my part.
Yeah. And he says, there is but one way to defeat an empire, to forge a greater one.
No!
Ustad
I say-
Shahid, no!
As the person literally
You-
playing the character who is forging another empire.
Yeah,
You are my cool anarchist uncle. What happened?
yeah,
I think it's more like what?
Yeah. What?
yeah,
Yeah.
From a farm?
yeah.
Yeah.
The first step in my creation of a new Volk is to starve minorities.
Yes.
Oh no. Yeah.
Like he said, he claims it is a feint. So,
Mm. Yeah. All right. Okay. He wants to draw his sword.
uh-huh.
All right. Let's do it. I don't recognize this man anymore.
Uh-huh. You cross blades with him?
Hmm? Yeah. I mean, we're we're debating with our swords, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Sword debate.
So
I know that. Yeah.
yes.
You make a good point. That was a cutting remark.
What? Is your goal here to disarm him and take him captive? Or Is it-
yeah, this is initially my goal. Let's see how
Uh-huh.
the fight goes.
yeah. Alright.
So
it can be a skirmish or it can be a sway because you're debating with swords.
God.
Well,
What's Clem up to? Clem's also here.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I just wanted to set this up. What is Clem doing as you see this nice uncle-looking gentleman defending two young children?
Remind me, where was this food shipment actually going to? Like, or they're just selling it on the market at marked up prices, right?
They're selling it to, like, normally they would sell it on a normal market. What they're now doing is they're taking it to like a fancy auction and then selling it to the highest bidder to some type of like
Jeez.
food company. So
You are
Yeah.
not- yeah.
Mhm.
So
You're no
he's
longer like-
also in collusion with Monsanto.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Clem.
Oh, now I have an ability called Kindred Spirit.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Can Mushfiq have my initiative in the situation?
Yes.
If I honestly announce a cause, belief, or intention to Ustad Shahid.
Yes. Please tell me what, just for the listeners, what this ability does.
Yeah. So, Kindred Spirit, when you honestly announce a cause, belief, or intention to someone, you may immediately learn how they feel about it. Moreover, you have the initiative in this situation and can react before they do.
Yep. Very good. And you can absolutely lend this to Mushfiq.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So, I think Clem, hearing this, their lip curls, you pour the same poison that you've willingly ingested into Mushfiq's ears. An empire. This happened in Severos. An empire forged. Again, it's only fighting fire with fire. Everyone will be hurt by this. You know not of what you speak.
Mhm. Yeah, and he says, I guess we will learn what he thinks, right? But I think his retort is, on the contrary, I'm not fighting fire with fire, I am speaking fire to fire.
Oh!
Oh, so good.
And he honestly believes in the fire speaker's ideology. Uduasha is the best Iruvian city. It must lead the Iruvians if you, as a quote-unquote nation, are to survive. This is his belief.
Okay. I just want to say that, like, as you know, everything sort of like as Mushfiq processes all of this, he is just absolutely seething. So I think Mushfiq will strike first, and as he does, we can do the swordsman thing, you know, where they cross blades and they push against each other and they say stuff to each other. And I guess the swords clash, and Mushfiq says to him, "You led us in a war against Luasha, telling us how they'd been starving our people, and now you want to join them while they mark up prices at some auction market, and we starve once more, and you call that a fucking feint?"
Changed my mind, didn't it?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is this what Lelouch Laminode says.
What?
For some reason,
Very well.
I suddenly like had this image of like an anime I have never seen in my life.
No,
Yes.
this is more Rurouni Kenshin, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
fine, cool. Yeah.
Make your move. I think we'll keep it at I think we'll keep it at risky standard now because it seems like a default thing. It's yeah.
Okay, well, I won't. I don't think I'll do desperate yet. So, okay, what is standard effect? I mean, I'm trying to disarm him. I think even at first, right?
Yeah, I
Or,
think
like, beat
pushing him
sense into
back.
him.
Standard effect here, as I imagine it, is not quite disarming him, but like pushing him back against the wall and making it clear that you are winning the fight. So
Okay.
basically, putting him in a desperate position if you succeed, and then you'll be in a position to kill him or disarm him or something like this. I think this is the cool way to do it. Like, so it's standard
Yeah.
effect to give yourself the upper hand.
Yeah, let's do it.
Uh-huh.
Ah, crit.
Ah!
Oh, interesting. So you do disarm him, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. So you strike the sword from his hand. He looks back at you as you say, like, "As our people starve yet again," and he says, "Remember, Nikhil, you and I agreed. It isn't all about rice." And yeah, he's throwing your exact argument back in your face that you made against Al-Qadr. It isn't about food. It's about principles.
Well, I mean, I'd say that this is
Uh-huh.
against our principles, but the thing that Mushfiq
Yeah.
will say is that if you really believe that, you would have held on to your sword. You're not fighting for any. Yeah, you're not fighting for. You're not fighting for anything you believe in.
Right makes might.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Yes. Right. Makes
Yeah.
right. Well said. Well said.
Uh-huh.
Well said. Voice in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Brain.
Uh-huh.
I'll steal that. I'll steal that from you, and that's what Mushfiq says. Right makes might.
Yeah. Good job, Brain. Yeah. So the blade is struck from his hands. And I think what you realize here is that, I mean, the reason he got picked up by the fire speakers to begin with, and I think the information that comes to it, however much you may want to believe that it's his will that is lacking, it's actually just the fact that he was starving and half dead by the time the fire speakers took him in, and his body has not recovered. This endless vitality in him that you always knew, it's gone. He has become a philosopher. He has become a politician. He has aged out of being a warrior.
Okay. And so does he say anything back, or should
Yeah.
I continue to berate him?
He does say something back as he holds his wrist, the
Yeah.
sword flown from his hands, and he says, "No, it's just the sword no longer suits me. I'm done being a destroyer, Mushfiq. It's time we create." And his eyes are genuinely pleading as he looks into yours.
Don't believe his lies.
No, I don't. I think Mushfiq it will soften a bit because I think that initial rage is gone and like what's the Shahid is disarmed.
Mhm.
But I think he is not convinced, right? He still says that. No, I do remember Nikhil. You're reminding me a lot of him right now.
Yeah. And he looks back to you, and I think he laughs at that. "I'm nothing like him. A small-minded provincial farmer. Look at these people. They need leadership."
No, you are like him. Just selling out to those who are killing us. Talking about how this is all for the greater good. I'm done compromising on our freedom.
Yeah, he says, "If only you understood, Udwasha only stepped on us because it was their only choice. They need to resist the Empire. We need to resist Akoros. Udwasha has done what it needs to do to survive, but if we team up, if we become like a closed fist, the nations of Iruvia will be the greatest empire in the Shattered Isles. We could do so much more, Mushfiq."
I think Cled's just going to pull out a gun and shoot him.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Shoot him, Glenn. That's the voice in
Very
your
well.
head.
Mm-hmm.
Are you cool with
Yeah.
this, Aadiyat? Because I think Clem's just listening to this and is like, this,
okay.
yeah.
You can shoot him, but let me just say one more thing anywhere he
Yeah, of
goes.
course.
And one
I
more
think-
thing.
Yeah, and one more thing. Yeah, like
And another thing.
Actually,
another one.
Yeah.
What do you say?
So while Usa pleads that or tries to convince Mushfiq, I think Mushfiq just sort of is almost like I think Mushfiq almost finds this revolting, right? Like, and I think he just goes, "Stop! Just stop talking. I can't hear this from you anymore."
Yeah. And I guess this is the moment where you realize that Ustad Shahed is dead.
Yeah.
Whoever this man is not him. And Clem, you shoot him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an action roll, because I think we have just learned that you are shooting a politician.
Is
So
there
I
a
think you just do it.
way?
Mhm.
I'm soft. Is there a way I could have, because there's this sword fight going on, got the children away?
Yes. I think you can have ushered them away easily. Like, they're no longer safe by the side of the Ustad when he's sword fighting. So you can have ushered them out of the building, told them to like run to another house or something.
I have this image in my mind of Clem, like one of them's clinging to them and like turns away one of their faces. They draw the pistol out, and I think it's the pistol they took off one of the fire speakers when they killed it. A fire speaking weapon to kill a fire speaker.
Yeah. Right. So
I get
him.
that.
Uh-huh.
I understand the imagery.
Yeah. You shoot him in the chest, in the heart. He
In the head.
falls backwards. In the head. Okay, yeah. He falls backwards. His blood spattering the wall. He collapses onto the ground, twitching slightly. There are no more words, but you see, perhaps, I think you see the last word, the last breath that he draws, which he did kind of mid being shot. His lips spell out silently the word, the dream, Iruvia.
No.
You.
How could you do such a thing?
So as Mushfiq's Usad dies before him, how does one react to something like this?
You could have a little cry.
Huh?
You could have a little cry.
Be a good role model
maybe
for the
just,
child.
I guess
There's a kid. There's a kid who watched all of this as well. Yeah.
No, the kid, the child was being turned away specifically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Clem is like pushing the little boy out the door, and I think his sister is like beckoning him along. He hears the gunshot, but he doesn't see it.
This was their origin story.
Yeah. This was the real Batman!
Tune in next week for these guys. Oh.
So what happens now?
Yeah, what does Mushfiq say?
Okay, so Mushfiq, I guess let's closes the Usad Shah's eyes, but I don't. But even when doing that, like doing this kindness, I don't think he really feels much because, because I think he also realized that Usad Shah, he did realize that the Usad Shah had already died, and they have and I think Mushfiq will deal with his grief by doing things that I've seen other people do when they're dealing with the grief, which is just make themselves busy with administrative stuff, where he goes, we should probably get back to the group. We should make sure that the food is secure.
We should, yes. Yes, you're right. It was your sword work. You're better than him. You always said how he was a great sword fighter. Should I be calling you a stud instead?
You call him a stud?
Would you like to engage in some other kinds of swordplay? And when I say sword, I mean your penis.
Shut up, everybody. Shut up, voice in my head.
there are some species of sea slugs that engage in penis fencing.
Yes,
Yes.
Is Mushfiq a sea slug?
I like the idea of Mushfiq just
do
saying
you
that.
like that?
I like the idea of Mushfiq just saying that piece of information out of nowhere because he's gone mad with grief.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's carry on with the scene.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. I in that bit of insane dialogue, I actually forgot what Clem said.
Yeah, should I be calling you Ustad?
Is this the time for false modesty? Probably not. I think Mushfiq says that Musa Shahid is dead, but his legacy, his sword style should live on. Yeah, I'll teach it to anyone who wants to learn.
Technically, none of us are Ustads. Even
Yeah.
Hey, I'm an Ustad.
Yeah, sure you are.
No, you aren't. I just called you that.
Yeah.
No. I have been acclaimed an Ustad by all of the living Ustads of the school, who currently number 0.
So how can
So
they
it's
be
fine.
acclaiming you?
Yeah,
Don't worry about
because of the whole Prince of Endings thing. Remember, Said also technically worships 0 gods, so it's fine.
Okay.
It's
So
actually like I worship 1 divided by 0 gods.
Yes.
I worship not a number gods.
And we have
Bidro
1
had been
divided by 0 Ustads.
Yes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yes.
So Bidro had been hoping that we would recover Ustad Shayad so that our school could have an actual Ustad because that's important for legitimacy. But this means that we need to make sure Saida is acclaimed as an actual Ustad soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is there more to say in this scene? We
No.
get sidetracked.
No. I think
Yeah.
that's the end of the scene. And actually, it is past 1, so I should be leaving very, very soon.
Yeah. Let's quickly jump to Bidruhi, and then we can wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bidruhi, you are facing down this, in a single combat, a guy who fired a gun and missed, and who is really fast and really good at fighting.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to fight
What do you
him.
do? Yeah.
Fight him.
I think the other 2 platforms are being basically swarmed by your cohorts. So,
Yeah. Let's see. So he's got. Is he still using his gun, or has he thrown it away and pulled out something else?
he is definitely drawing a backup weapon, and I think what he's drawing is like a long knife. So it's not quite a sword. His goal is not to like sword fight you. His goal is to draw out a long knife. He doesn't know that you're as fast as he is. So I mean, and this is still terrifyingly fast. He draws out a long knife in one smooth, fluid motion and stabs you in the throat as you climb up the ladder. That's basically what he's going for. And this would just happen if you hadn't just picked reflexes. So
yeah. So I think what happens is that even though I have reflexes and mechanically that means I'm as fast as him, I think it's more a narrative thing where through sheer luck or something, I happen to because he's moving faster, but he's not necessarily thinking faster, or he's not necessarily smarter than I am, or anything like that. He's just supernaturally fast. I'm not supernaturally fast. I'm just really fast and smart and very handsome. But that's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say good looking also. Yeah.
go on.
Yeah. Thank. Yeah. No. Yes, I will go on being good looking. Yeah. So I'm just going to. So he's going to draw his sword, and he will draw his sword because he's supernaturally fast. And then I'm going to block his sword blow with my buckler and knife, so I'm going to have the buckler in hand, and I've been using the buckler to basically punch people, non-lethally until now. But underneath the buckler gripped is a sort of like stabbing knife, a qatar. So I'm going to block his knife. I'm going to stab him in the arm. And then I'm going to chop his head off. Try to.
Yep. Yeah, this is a dangerous enough man that if you were going for anything less than lethal violence, I would give you limited effect. Because fighting in any sort of controlled manner. But I think in this case you have standard in that you can kill him.
Okay.
He's good, but it's less that he's like terrifyingly skilled and more that he's heavily armed and well equipped. So, but it's still desperate because he is heavily armed, well equipped, and hopped up on demon drugs. So desperate standard. Okay.
Standard is fine. There's no need for great effect here. I just want to get him out of the way. May I have a devil's bargain?
Okay, yes. This is quite a bad devil's bargain, but I guess we will go with it. You will stab him. There will be blood spraying off of him. And some of this blood infused with the essence of Ixis will land in your mouth and you will swallow it.
Oh, bad. Don't do that, man.
Actually, I'm going to reframe what I'm going to do because I remembered the ampule of Alcahest. So I'm going to reframe that, and you can tell me if the Devil's Bargain still stands.
Okay.
Okay. So I have the buckler and blade. I'm going to block his sword with that, so I'm going to still do that.
Yeah.
But I won't have time to draw my normal sword and slash him. Instead, so it's going to be I'm going to block his blade and try to stab him in the heart. In the same motion. I think that's still legible and possible to do. And with my right hand, my main hand, I'm going to throw the ampule in his face.
Okay.
Sure. That's my action. So I'm going to make it a finesse instead.
Mm-hmm. So then this neutralizes this Devil's Bargain. It doesn't make any sense because you're neutralizing the Ixis magic that is infusing him. So I don't have a Devil's Bargain for you. I'm not going to come up with a second one if you go out of your way to negate the first one. So
yeah, that's not why I was doing it. Obviously, I remembered about the ampule and I should use it.
Mm-hmm.
Desperate Standard. No, do I have a Devil's Bargain for myself? I'm wondering. I mean, we don't know who this person.
Oh, I was just gonna say you're gonna rip your brand new Dumdurji suit.
No, I don't think it's powerful enough. I don't think I have anything that's like has the gravity here. So
okay. So
let's not overthink it since we're running a little short on time too.
I got 3 dice. I'm going to put myself. I think it's important.
Yep.
Let's see what happens. I'm going to just make sure I don't have anything relevant. No, I don't. Okay. Oh, it's a 5.
It's a 5. So what will happen here is you will stab him in the heart. You will neutralize the Ixis blood with Alcahest. And what he was going to do an action at the same time. So like his blade was blocked, and with his left hand he's already doing something because he's moving so goddamn fast. So he wasn't seeing that you would break through. Like he basically didn't see the blade that was hidden. So he has no idea he's about to be stabbed in the heart. He just thinks he was being blocked. So with his free hand, he was drawing out his grenade because they all were equipped with one. They had the same standard equipment. He was like pulling this out in one smooth motion yet again, yanking out the pin and hurling the grenade past you towards. I think it's cooler if it's towards one of your cohorts actually. So he was just like casually throwing it behind him. His plan was to block your blow, casually throw the grenade behind him, blow up the people that have already killed his friend behind him, which he's aware of because he has super fast reaction times, and then do something about you. Now he never gets to the do something about you part.
Yeah.
Cool guys, don't look at explosions.
Yeah, exactly. So he was going to do a cool guy explosion behind him. Yeah, and the desperate effect is obviously level 3 harm to your cohort. Some of them will die.
I would like.
And this is not the cohort that is with Saida. This is with your prison gang.
Yes, I'm going to protect them. I would like the grenade to go off in his hand.
Yep.
And I'm also there.
Yep. Fair enough.
So I'm going to mark armor first.
Yeah. So I think we framed it as a level 3 harm to the cohort. So if you protect it, it's a level 4 harm to you. With armor, it's a level 3 harm to you, and then you can also resist it if you wish. But
yes, the way I'm going to resist is that I want to. So I'm going to take a grenade to the face. Grenade in front of me. I mean, he's going to be blocking most of it with his body.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be wearing armor. So I think what I want the outcome of this resistance to be is less that I don't take harm, and more that as I go flying off and land somewhere, I want to look really cool and dashing and heroic.
Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense to roll a resist to like jump off the thing as the blow goes off too. So fair enough. I think it's prowess resist.
That's even better. Then I can be catapulted by the explosion right back, and I kind of like, I don't know, try to do finger guns as I fly or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It makes sense to just like have his body absorb part of the blow and then just jump away from the rest of it. So yeah.
I also appreciate that I just said I'm going to try to do cartwheels and finger guns, and you said yeah.
That's because we are aggressively not.
Okay, so I think it's a level 2 harm, and in this case, I think the way to frame this as it making sense is miraculously all the like shrapnel and blast wave and all of the stuff that goes off, like none of it hits you. The reason you take harm is just you're jumping off the roof of a building doing finger guns, and you don't land all that well, so you take a level 2 harm worth of falling damage.
But that's the opposite. I wanted to look cool while falling. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
then
I want to take the shrapnel damage.
Okay, fair enough. Then I guess you take the shrapnel damage. So
I'm
you
going
have a
to-
piece of probably golem shredding you somewhere, because these are not fragmentation grenades, right? These are pretty primitive. They just go kablooey. So I think it blows off bits of golem at you.
Okay. Done level 2 harm. I took the shrapnel damage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the shrapnel damage 1.
Yep.
Mm.
But as this goes off, the golems, obviously you have like no... I think I was going to say you have no means of steering them, but actually you do, because the Skovlanders here are probably trained in using them. Because they work in logistics. So I think as this guy falls off, one of the Skov foremen like approaches, hesitantly seeing that the danger appears to be over. And then we see your guys, your people, climb up on the golems and start to steer them away with like whatever produce is on them, and everything else will be carried by hand.
Nice.
And I think that's that.
Nice.
Aadiyat, do you have time to stick around for the payout phase, or do you want to skip out right away?
I did either.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have time to stick around to do quick payoff, or?
Yeah, it looks like I do, because... Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's just quickly go through the payout phase, and then we will go on to do XP, and that will be that.
Nice.
And we will talk a little bit about what has happened. But payoff. So obviously you still get to keep some of the food for yourself, and we can represent this with coin. I think it's less that you are like selling this food, right? Because you're handing it out to the starving people. I think the reason this makes you coin is more you make coin as part of your daily operations, and now you don't have to pay for food. So you make 4 coin. You make 4 coin worth of not having to pay restaurant bills for a month.
Okay.
Let's each take one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And remember,
And
we
I
always
think-
get +2 for battle or extortion.
Yep. So it's another
Ah.
+2,
Mm.
which I guess is 2 crew coin.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Then you get 2 rep. This is not a higher tier faction you're attacking. They had some help from some cool people, but that was these 3 mercenaries, so I don't think that counts. So I think it's 2 rep. However, I think the big payoff here is faction status, which is going to go up with a ton of people. So we can look into that over time, but off the top of it, your faction status with Skovlanders goes up by 1. So it's now at 2.
Yes.
Nice.
The Kethrisi Dispossessed is already at 3, but I think we'll note down some other citizenry factions. Someone please make a note about this. I don't want to go into it now since we have limited time, but basically, the citizens of Bundervest, like
Yes.
everyone who lives in Bundervest, you get +1 faction status with.
I'll increase the status with the Lockporters as well.
Yeah. So this is a very good way of winning you friends. There is, however, unfortunately also some heat. And I think we can go with nothing but the 6 heat wild and devastating exposure here.
Yes. This makes sense.
Yeah. It was also a high profile or well connected target, and it happened. It did not happen on hostile turf. They were not hostile before you at first. But killing was involved. So it's a total of 9 heat.
And guns.
Yeah. Oh, and guns. So it's 10 heat actually, minus whatever.
Jesus Christ.
-2.
If only we were
minus
at
2.
war.
Mhm.
We could
Don't
max out our
instigate.
heat.
Don't instigate a riot, guys. That's bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll the entanglement.
Yeah. So it's a wanted level, straight up. I mean, that makes sense. You caused a riot.
Roll the 3
Nice.
Okay.
on 5 heat.
I will tell you the entanglement, and I will tell you briefly what this wanted level represents in this case. So we're at heat 4 at the moment, right? And
Yeah,
3
5.
is 5. Yeah. It's gang, trouble, or questioning. Yeah, I think
that
it's
makes
interesting to see the gangs here rather than questioning. Let's see the flaws of the prison people next session. Let's see. Let's actually properly introduce the gang with them being bad at things. Note that down. And finally, why is this a wanted level? I think we will cut to, and this is the last scene before we go to XP. We will cut to a room deep down in Pasarhantu. Underneath Murder Alley, underneath all of that, sitting before a gigantic vault door, is a little man. He looks entirely unremarkable. A dull, boring Uduashan bureaucrat dressed in a nice suit. And he receives a letter. He reads it. He looks up and he clicks his tongue. And he says, Kethracy. Again. We'll have to file that one away for later. And this man is the man who has given you a wanted level single-handedly, and the man who was orchestrating this whole food sale. It is Venkatesh Anixis, the manager of Majesty Bank, and the man directly responsible for starving you to begin with.
Oh my god, I hate it so much.
Yep.
Of course it's him. Very good.
You now have his attention.
Well, we'll see what his attention. How long his attention can last when he's dead.
Yeah, he is one of the most untouchable men in Uduasha. Obviously, he runs the biggest bank.
Yep.
And I think that we know from the book, which is why I'm making sense of this, like Anixis, but not the blessing of Anixis. We know from the bank that Venkatesh Anixis is not loyal to his house; he is loyal to himself. So he's very good at doing side business using his family connections.
Excellent. Muy bien.
Yep. Okay.
Excellent.
That's that. Thank you for listening, everyone. For those of you listening on Patreon, we will continue to discuss a little bit about XP and a little bit about the session. And to those of you who aren't on Patreon yet, first of all, why aren't you? Second of all, thank you for listening. Please join us in the future. And we will see you in the next episode of Desperate Attune.
Here close the doors to the house of endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Symmetry, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha.